Beautiful souls, this is Shaman Durek, and I'm sending you so much love. Super excited to be here in this live with you. We have an amazing webinar coming up tonight. It was about really getting through the fragmentations of things that we go through energetically in our systems, places where we leave our emotions and how they can still be affecting us. It's really great to be to just be here to support you. I want to start off with a prayer before we go into some of the healings that we're going to do. So let's just start with that first. I just want to say, Mother and Father God, Divine Christ, divine beings of light, divine deities, ancestors, orishas, thank you, divine animal spirits and elementals, and all beings that are supporting us that we don't even realize are supporting us. We say thank you. We say thank you for showing up for us, for our family, for our friends, for lifting the veil of disillusionment on our planet, the veil of suffering, the veil of condemnation, the veil of hate, the veil of jealousy, the veil of pride, the veil where people do not see and understand the levels of love that is eminently present in our Mother, Father, God, and resonating in our heart of hearts when we step into that alignment. And so we're asking for any energies that are getting in the way of us being able to create and experience the blessings and the beautiful gifts that are here, right now, right? We know that Spirit has already put everything in front of us and we are the ones getting in the way. So we're thankful and grateful for everyone who's here and anyone who will come later to this live to have those energies cleared and removed so that we can get back into the place of service and love to one another and being kind and generous and supportive to people on the planet. So we're grateful and thankful to that. And I say Ashe, Amin, Amen, Aho, Aho Atakuase, Namaste, Mashallah, and Aloha Nui Loa. All right. It's nothing greater than a prayer to set the energy and the frequencies in the right place. And again, what we're acknowledging and what we always want to keep acknowledging is that the blessings are already here, but we're the only ones getting in the way of allowing it to fully come and integrate into our lives, right? Spirit, Mother, Father, God, the divine angels, all the beings that are there that are supporting you all the time already have the blessings there. And it's just us being open to getting out of our way with our thoughts, our ideas, our belief systems, our judgments, our places where we feel that we didn't do enough, we didn't work enough, we didn't, do enough to earn it or whatever it is. Because we create all these unnecessary limitations. And Spirit's like, why are you creating those limitations? You're not supposed to be creating these limitations. You're children of the divine, right? So operating in that field of consciousness requires us to go wait a second, we need to be more nurturing, more loving, more open, more conscious of where are we putting our energies, how we're showing up in the world, how we're nurturing ourselves and the people around us. It's really important. So I'm really excited that we get to be on this amazing planet together. Also, I just want to give you some things that we do have the webinar. We also have the Lit Vibe meditation app. If you haven't gone on the activation app to get activated so you can open up your gifts and your abilities, please do so when you get a chance. Also, if you haven't checked out the Netflix documentary of my wife and I, and our love for one another, it's really centered around bringing an awareness of how we as individuals have to start loving who we are and being true to who we are without being afraid of what others may say or think or feel because they self don't understand where we are because they're creating their own limitations and triggers to who and what we are. And I think it's important that we activate that level of awareness in our community so that can spread and become like a tidal wave of love for so many people. It's really, really important. The name of the documentary is The Rebel Royals, and you can see it on Netflix globally. I believe it's in 190 countries. It's really amazing. So a lot of misconceptions that a lot of people have had. That's okay. People have those misconceptions. I'm sure I've noticed there's a lot of people writing a lot of things, very what I call unloving things about what they feel they think I mean, or all these types of things. And it's quite unfortunate that people don't quite understand what I mean. So I'm just going to make myself very clear right here, right now. So someone recently asked me about my wife's parents, and I will literally say this. I don't think that they didn't understand that racism existed. It's that I don't believe that they understood the impact that it was affecting on me. Now, when I say that, I need you to understand, I don't see myself as a victim at all. And the information that I'm sharing is not to be like, oh, I'm a victim, poor me, boo hoo. It's acknowledging my experience and bringing clarity to it, and the amazing steps that my beautiful in-laws made to going out and being the first to step up and say something about something that they didn't realize was impacting so many people. And especially in Norway. So, I spent a lot of time in the African communities of Norway, spending time with my wife, talking to people, going to their homes for dinner, really getting involved in the community here of people of color. And it's really unfortunate that a lot of people still think that because I bring these things up that I'm pulling the race card, which is most what I would think people would say when it comes to these types of situations, because of course that's the only way they can understand it, is to just kind of blow it off and say, oh, it's my fault for actually bringing it up again. But it's brought up not just because I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because there's real truth to it, and there's things that need to heal there. And it's not me being a victim. It's not me saying my in-laws are unaware. It's not about that. It's that they weren't aware of the impact that it was affecting in my life. Can you imagine going through years and years and years and years of people writing you death threats and calling you every nasty name you can imagine? And it's not like it just happened one time. It was like over years before I actually brought it to the awareness. So I'm the type of person that when people make lies about me or do things, I'm the type of person who because of my loving heart, I kind of just sit and let them just keep doing the things that they want to do or say what they want to say. And then eventually, when I realize that they're not going to change their stripes, or they're not going to do the right thing and be honest, or come from a place of truth and clarity, that's when I usually take action and do something about it. But I usually pray on it and really get into that space. I don't really take effectiveness to what people say when it comes to the nasty things that they say, because I was raised in a way to really be devoted to God and devoted to spirit and the ancestors. And when I go to God and ask God how to respond to people who say horrible things, um, it's the way I respond because of God. God tells me to turn the other cheek. But for me, turning the other cheek is literally realizing that the people who say things that aren't coming from love, and this is something you can also take from me, because I'm all about resourcefulness and resilience. It's about turning the other cheek, but in the sense of knowing that anything that's not said from love means that person doesn't really have a deep relationship with God. Because when you have a deep relationship with God, with spirit, with your ancestors, with the divine, you see yourself more. And the more you see yourself, you see others, right? And when you see others, you don't want to hurt others. You don't want to say nasty things to others. You want to uplift people. You want to see people thrive and be happy. Like I feel for all of you. Like, why wouldn't I want you to be successful? Why wouldn't I want you to be happy, to be cared for? Anyone who goes out of their way to hurt another human being and operate in deceit and lies and create drama where drama doesn't need to be created, it's because they themselves don't see their own excellence. So how those people are the most dangerous people, because if you have people in your life who don't recognize their own excellence, they're never going to celebrate yours. It's something I always say. Like, even I get like a lot of people who are of my own skin tone, my own color of skin, who get angry that I'm with my wife or will say horrible things to me instead of celebrating, our love, celebrating where we are, celebrating how that reflects upon them in a beautiful way. And that's people, hurt people hurt people. I mean, it's true. I talk about it in my book. It's called The Hurt Collectors, right? It's how people who are hurt continue to want to hurt one another. I have been experiencing racism as well. I'm from Munich, and I'm here against my will, and I hate Norway because Norway destroyed my life. Oh, that's unfortunate. Norway is a really beautiful place. It's just that we have to add more love and compassion into Norway, and people need to lighten up a little bit. They just take things. I think the press in Norway. One of the reasons why I like only giving my interviews to American press is because they actually speak the truth and they do fact checks on every person who comes to them and says something. So it's not like you can just go to the American press and say, oh yeah, this person did this and this person did this, and these are just all hearsays. They actually fact check. They actually like do their due diligence. They like call the person. They're like, okay, this person's saying this about you, and we want evidence from that person. Is there a police record? Is there this? Is there that? People in Norway, in the press in Norway is very different. The press in Norway just takes whoever has a problem about something that they want to polarize, and then they just give them a soapbox to just like talk about whatever they want. People could lie, people could say whatever they want, but there's like no dates, there's no facts, there's nothing presented, nothing to back up their story, just hearsay, 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 which I find very fascinating. And it's quite unfortunate that people listen to that stuff and then react to it. It's wild. It's wild. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, I could have an interview with People Magazine and literally talk to People Magazine and tell them exactly, my wife and I can speak to them directly and say exactly what's going on, and they will fact check it. They will be like, they don't change our words. They don't manipulate it to mean something else. But if I have an interview in Norway, it's like, I never said that. I never said kids want cancer. I never said I never said that my spirit optimizer healed me from COVID. I said I used it along with yoga and eating healthy and sleep, but all of a sudden it means something else. And sometimes you just don't want to make comments about it, Like, sometimes you don't want to respond to it because it's just so crazy. And you're like, wow, oh my God, they're really trying to paint this picture of me that is so not who I am. Like, of course I love my in-laws. Of course I have the highest respect for them. Of course I honor, what they did for me and stepping forth and speaking about racism as the first, but to think that I don't care about them and all of that is it's just really fascinating to me. Um, and sometimes when I read the press, I'm like, oh, wow, you're talking to people who I've let go of in my company because they did things that were, not the right things. And no one cares to talk to all my other managers, but you only talk to one manager, or you talk to my exes who I broke up with because of their behaviors, because they weren't showing love and coming from a spiritual place and loving God. And that's who you're talking to get your information. I find it fascinating. Fascinating. But when you go in American press, it's like I say something, boom. It's like it's exactly written, exactly as I said it. I find it fascinating. I go to Turkey, I'm in Turkey, I'm getting interviewed in Turkey, boom, they say exactly what I said. Is it because of the Yantalaven? It could be. I'm not sure what it is. Have you had a second kidney transplant yet? I have not had a second kidney transplant yet. I had a first one. It was given to me by my sister. She saved my life. It was beautiful. I love her. If you want to wish her a happy birthday, I put it on the Instagram. But no, I haven't. I'm going for testing and doing all that and waiting to see if a donor comes through. So that's really cool. But yeah, I think for me and my wife, it was just about being able to control the narrative of our own story. You know, everyone likes to write about what they think about my relationship. Oh, he's gay. I was like, first of all, I don't believe in labels from gay, bisexual, straight. Like, all these labels were created by a system that wants to put us in boxes. Why do we keep giving power to that system that wants to put us in boxes? Right? So I think that's really important. Secondly, I'm a soul sexual person. And people don't understand what that means. I'm going to explain it to you. So soul sexual, it means that when I look at the world, okay, I don't look at every man and go like, oh my God, that man's hot. Oh my God, that man's hot. Oh my God, that man's hot. Oh my God, that girl's hot. That girl's hot. That girl's hot. No, I don't do that. What I do is go, wow, that person has a really amazing soul. I love that vibrational field. That energy is vibing. I can feel it. I feel like I have a connection with them from another time. There's something deep. There's realness. There's God. There's energy. This person has a vibrational field that merges my vibrational field, meaning that they can merge with me on a deeper spiritual level. It doesn't mean I'm going to just look at you and be attracted to you by your physical presence. Your physical presence is just the body that you come in. I've had many relationships with people with just the body they come in, and trust me, what was inside was not coming from pure love and God consciousness and loving and kindness and generosity, you know? And so I look for the soul. I look at the soul of a person. I look at like how they show up for themselves, how they show up for others, what kind of conversations I can have with them. How far can we evolve together? Are we going to be able to pray together? Or if I start meditating and praying, are you going to look at me sideways? You know what I mean? So I look at the soul of a person. And I think it's hard for people to sometimes capture that, because they go into this whole dialogue of like, oh, no, man, you're gay. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm not. Because that's what you want to project. That's the box you want me to go into. I cannot. I'm sorry. I know that you feel comfortable once I get in a box and you understand me and you feel like, oh my God, he's in the box. Now I can label him and I feel safer. I can sleep at night. But that is not who God made me to be, right? It's about us getting out of the box. It's about us getting out of these programs, of these belief systems that people have generated on earth to put us in so that we can limit our relationship with God. You know, it's like even the whole idea how people put God in a box, you know, God is angry, God is jealous, God is that. How can God get angry? God's supposed to be greater than human beings. How can God get jealous? I grew up in a very Seventh-day Adventist family and also a spiritualist family where my shamanism side comes from. I find it very fascinating that people actually believe that God could have human emotions like they do, and then characterize God in these human emotions, and then use it as a weapon to make other people feel uncomfortable about who they are, because God's going to punish you. God's going to get mad at you. God's going to this. Who are you to talk about God's emotions as if you know God, like God is like a human being like you that gets angry, gets upset, and gets frustrated and annoyed? What if God is just pure love all the time, every time, accepting you all the time, no punishment, no judgment, no condemnation, just wanting to see what you will do with the consciousness that you've been given, right? And, you know, and that's really important when we think about that concept of God, right? Is like, what if God is just wanting to see what you'll do with your consciousness? You know, there's another misconception people have about what I said on the Netflix doc, where I talk about having a big ego. Big ego, I'll tell you what that means to me. Okay. So it doesn't mean an ego that is about stepping over people and thinking I'm better than people or that kind of thing. The ego to me is about fortifying myself in who I am in God's love. That means I have a big ego, and you have to have a big ego when you're a public figure or when you're a person who's out there speaking for and holding space for other people, because people can come along and say nasty things to you and you'll just like go like, oh my God, how could they say that to me? But if you have a really big ego, right, and you have a big ego, Yeah, Jesus is God. Yes, it's true. And yes, that thank you for sharing that with us. So if you have a big ego, you literally are not going to listen to what people have to say about you. You're going to go to God first. And you're going to say like, I'm sorry, but I love myself way too much. I see what God has made. God constantly has given me the approval, the stamp of approval, so I'm going to love this, and I'm not going to let people put this down. So yes, I have a big ego, not the ego you're thinking of, but the ego that actually solidifies and protects me, which gives me the strength in my core to speak my truth, honor who I am, and not be affected by what people say. That is highly important in today. And I encourage you to have a big ego, not an ego that thinks it's better than other people, or, that you have to step on other people to get ahead. No, not that kind of ego, but the ego that fortifies you, so that when someone doesn't say something of love to you, you're like, yeah, that's nice. Okay. And next, right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what people say unless they come from a place of love, right? And so when people come from love, they're representing God. But when people come from judgment, ridicule, condemnation, persecution, words that are not coming from love, they're not channeling God at all. Not 1 ounce of them is channeling God. They're channeling darkness. They're channeling lower dimensional frequencies. And that is not what we're supposed to do. We didn't come here to condemn our brothers and sisters. We came here to love and lift the darkness into the light. And we do so through the act of service and kindness and generosity. We've come here to operate in that awareness. And that is the power of the divine, right? We call it the source code. And that source code is powerful because when we operate in that space, we recognize that God is love. And so our idea of representing God is to be love, to operate, to speak love, to be kind and generous, loving, supportive, holding space for one another, and so much more. And when you see people who are judging, condemning, ridiculing, crucifying, doing all these things, that's exactly the opposite of love. That is exactly what darkness is operating and wanting people to do with their consciousness. And God is just loving you. God is just sitting back going, is that what you choose to do with your consciousness? Okay, that's your choice. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to love you. I'm not here to punish you. I'm not here to condemn you. You're doing it all to yourself by the way you think, your actions, and the way you choose to perceive things in this world. And that's the truth. And so people can choose to operate however they choose, but I choose to operate in God's love. And so people can say all the mean things they want to say, and that's okay, because evolution has taught me one thing, that God is love, period. That's it. When I was a kid, I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, I used to be so strong in, like, my grandfather was a preacher. I was very much about uh focusing on, like, the teachings of Jesus. I read the Bible backwards, forwards, you name it, the whole bit. And then I was like, you know what? I want to go to the places that Jesus walked. So I went to live in, I went to Israel, and I went to Nazareth, or what they call Nazareth. I was in Jerusalem. I spent a lot of time there. I learned to speak Hebrew. I really started studying, like, where is Jesus' original language from? Oh, okay, it's Aramaic. Okay, what did Jesus actually really say? And I spent time in the Vatican. I spent time in Italy. I learned how to speak Italian. I wanted to really understand all of this, to make sense of it all, And when I had my near-death experience, what really affected me was what happened to me when I went to the other side. And it was just like this awareness of God, which was just pure love. That's it. It was just pure love. And the message I got wasn't condemn people, crucify them, persecute them, or yourself or anyone else. It was just like, love them. And it wasn't like, oh, look at the darkness, look at the beings in the darkness and condemn them. No, it was like, love them and lift them back into my kingdom. It was so clear. And in that moment, I gained a new perspective when I came back into my body. And God said, I give you life again. I was in a wheelchair for a very long time. I went through all of these different situations, which you can read about in my book, Spirit Hacking. It gave me clarity on how to serve myself, my family, and humanity. And that clarity has never left me. And that is to love for the sake of love, not to make people feel bad about the choices that they made, because those things can be changed. It's not about condemning someone. It's not about persecuting them. It's about helping them to understand the errors of their ways. So this is very important for us to consider. And for those of you, again, I have a webinar that's going to be tonight. So if you want to learn how to defragment energies and clear those frequencies, we're going to be going over all of that good stuff. So please do sign up for that webinar. And again, if you want to get the powerful activations, you can do that as well through going on the Lit Vibe meditation app. If you want to check out first, you can read about it in Google and on R and Apple to get the testimonies from people. We've got amazing testimonies from doctors, psychologists, and people whose lives have been changed and that are using it with their patients to this day because of how powerful it is. So that being said, I don't want to preach too much about things because that can get boring. What I do want to do is be able to support you. So what I want to do is say, who wants to go live with me? Who wants to go live with me? Oh, I see that there's people already lined up. So let's see who we have. I see. Let's see what's going on with Jessica. Dr. Queen. Hi, my love. What's up, sister love? Yes, you have watched my evolution.
My love.
Hi, darling.
Hi. I'm driving. I need to pull over so I can talk to you. I was just listening to you.
Okay,
Is that okay?
take your time.
Okay, I'm at a red light. I love, love, love your Netflix movie. Thank you for making that with Princess Martha.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Let's call her Martha Louise so we don't get in trouble.
Okay, Martha Louise.
Yes.
Did I say that well?
Yeah.
It was so inspiring. It makes me feel more confident about embodying myself.
Yeah. Yeah. You're really touching my heart right now. That's the whole purpose of why we wanted to share our story, because we wanted to share a love story like ours because it had so many nuances of things that are shifting consciousness on our planet.
So many nuances, and it felt so fearless. It felt like there's no reason to like doubt yourself or shame yourself for who you are. It showed be yourself and be in your power, because look at what you're both doing in the world. So thank you.
It's a pleasure, but it's about what we are doing. Have you pulled over the car, my love?
Yes, I pulled
Okay.
over. I'm parked.
Yeah, I think also too, and I think it's also really important too, because I think it's something that I really am very strongly about when it comes to women, right? And it's also men showing up and empowering women in a way that is so about holding space for their wisdom, their love, their intelligence, for their children. Going into this relationship with my wife was the first thing I did when we fell in love. Was she has children, and I wanted to make sure that I was 100% um in love with her, because you can't just enter into a relationship with a woman who has children and then leave, and that affects the kids too because they're now a part of that situation. And so you really need to be 100% sure. So I really needed some time to soul search and go into that space with myself so that I could truly understand what it would mean for me to go into that space, that it's not a temporary thing, that this is something I have to be 100% sure that I'm ready to be a bonus dad. I'm ready to be there for her every step of the way. And a lot of times what I was like, what I really excited about demonstrating to people too about being a soul sexual man is because a lot of people think, oh, a soul sexual man, and they want to classify me into a box like, oh, he's gay, he's bisexual, he's this, he's that, he's pan, he's that. No, I'm soul sexual. I'm sorry you don't quite understand what that means on a spiritual level, and that's why I wanted to explain it today. But the thing, what I found about it is, and what I love, we're having this conversation, is because it's about us being clear in who we are, going back to what you were saying, and not going into the rhetoric or the nonsense that other people's opinions have because they're not at that level or evolutionary level to understand why you say what you say. And that's why people get so triggered, because they don't realize that those triggers that they're experiencing have nothing to do with you but more to do with their evolution and their inner way that they're cultivating themselves, right? And I think that's really important in this day and age, that we actually stop and look at these triggers, these things that are irritating us, is because of our own stuff going on inside. So, so when it comes to you, because you have been a lit leader of legacy for a very long time, and you come to my events, you come to, you've done so much. I want to make sure that you are taken care of today. So how can I support you?
Mhm. I feel like very much in line with what you're sharing. I hear the noise of other people's opinions around how I should be, how I should embody being a woman, how I should move through space. And I want to serve. And then in that, I get all jumbled and in my mental space of what's right, what's wrong, what should I do, what should I not do.
Okay, well, let's look at that for a second.
And listen,
I'm just
yeah,
I'm just going to run a frequency scan on your system. So just give me a second.
okay.
Okay, so I'm looking here at your scans in your being. I'm actually going into your mental aspect. Your mental aspect is still holding a very strong masculine authoritative energy that's coming from a male in your family. And it shows here there's a differential energy. So a differential energy in shamanism, it means that your core energy feels threatened every time you feel like you're going against that male figure energy. So even though you have all these ideas and these concepts of things that you want to do, there's this part of your being that keeps questioning you. It keeps like questioning your authoritative self, meaning your own sovereignty because of this energy. And now I'm looking here in your frequency files here, and the frequency files you have, it looks like I'm seeing a 17 and a 47, and it has a high, about middle ground 4. That tells me that you're obsessively going into putting yourself down.
Wow, yeah,
Okay. And it's a type
yeah,
of sadness. It's a sadness of the soul. Because look, God has given us this amazing soul, right? That says, I want to shine God's light through you into this world as you, as God has designed you to be, right? When we go against that soul by putting ourselves down or thinking we're not good enough or creating some idea. Now, let me look at what you're actually doing.
yeah.
Okay, so yours is the idea that people don't appreciate you. So immediately it's the awareness of your existence. It's the awareness of the appreciation of your existence, the acknowledgement of your existence, the what your existence represents and how people are going to respond to that in this lifetime. All right? And so it's this feeling of like great having these really great ideas, but then second guessing those ideas with this low vibration field of, are people really going to care about me? And are people going to really appreciate what I have to share? And are people, really going to support me? But the support thing is very fascinating because again, it goes back to that masculine energy that I keep seeing. So here's the thing. Who's the greatest supporter for you in all of the universe?
God.
That's right. And the conversations that you should be having should be with.
God.
Mm. And so, does anyone have the right to speak on your authority other than?
God. No.
That's right. Right. Exactly. So, if a person isn't operating just by the first sentences out of their mouth from a place of love, are they operating in?
God. No, they're not. They're operating in shadow.
Right. Not
Darkness, right?
operating in lower dimensional darkness, right? Because the shadow is the part that is holding on to things that we need to bring love to. But darkness is the place in which we're channeling hate or rude comments or, being just not a kind human being, right?
Mhm.
So if that is the case, and so your it's no one has the authority to speak on your behalf unless they speak from a place of love, kindness, generosity, and awareness of you. But no one can really speak on the awareness of you if they don't even have the awareness for themselves,
Right.
right? So it's like when I grew up as a kid and met different people throughout my life and my travels, I met a lot of people who just didn't see themselves. They didn't see the excellence in themselves. So when they looked at me, it was either through jealousy or fear or like just wanting to tear me down because they couldn't see their own excellence. And if someone can't see their own excellence, of course they're not going to want to see you succeed,
Yeah.
right?
Right. How
Exactly.
do how do I see that excellence in myself more? How do I edify and appreciate that in myself rather than going into these
Okay,
doubtful
I'm gonna
obsessions?
go into your synapses and take a look at some code frequencies. I'm gonna have you activate those energies yourself right now. Are you open for that?
I'm open to it.
Great. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's take a look here. Your code frequency 567. Okay, so I want you to say, open up frequency chambers 567.
Open up frequency chambers 567.
Begin elevation process
Begin elevation process
and activate this process daily.
and activate this process daily.
Good. Notice how that feels. Good. Now say activate frequencies 189,
Activate frequencies 189.
release fear markers,
Release fear markers.
replace it with joy and acceptance.
Replace it with joy and acceptance.
Good. And just tell me when you feel that even stronger in your body.
Oh, I feel it.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. There's so much spinning in my
Yeah.
belly
Uh,
area.
Good. Now, do marker releases. We're going to release marker 61589
Release marker 61589.
out of my mouth and throat through continuous release.
Out of my mouth and throat through continuous release.
Set tone at 68.
Set tone at 68.
Frequency tone at 68.
Frequency tone at 68. I'm feeling a lot. Ooh. Shaman Durek. I feel so giggly now.
Good. Now say, set markers in place.
Set markers in place.
Move energy tone frequencies from my throat to my stomach.
Move energy tone frequencies from my throat to my stomach.
Activate.
Activate.
Good. Now say, create acceleration frequencies
Create acceleration frequencies
in my emotions
in my emotions
and in my body.
and in my body.
Now.
Now. Mm. Oh.
Say, create awareness
Create awareness
of how to elevate my love daily.
of how to elevate my love daily.
Good. And tell me when you hear your consciousness communicate to you that it loves you.
Say, I love you so much, darling.
Mm,
It's
good.
okay. You're safe here. Yeah. You're here to be free and to be you.
Good. Now, what I want you to say is, are you happy that I'm showing up for you today?
Are you happy that I'm showing up for you today? Yes. Please show up here more often.
Very, very good. Very good. Well done, my dear.
Wow. I feel so blessed.
Well,
Thank you,
we are
Shaman,
blessed.
so
We have
much.
amazing Mother and Father God that loves us in heaven, that blesses us every single day. We just have to remove these walls and blockages that get in the way of us receiving those blessings.
Is this a practice I should repeat daily? No.
Let's take a look at something here. I'm going to give you a simple practice for yourself to repeat. Give me the codes for her to use daily. Code 7634, and you're going to use it with the element water. So you're going to practice that right now. 76. Go ahead.
77634.
Download into my system with water.
Download into my system with water. Oh.
That's what I want you to use every day. And remember, the more you remember yourself, the more you remember each other. Right? Remember, the biggest problem we have in our world is that people have forgotten who they are in God's love, so they don't see each other correctly. So
Is there?
everything you do for yourself, you're doing for all of us.
Okay. Okay. Is there a way to navigate with that love and embodiment when I'm feeling and hearing someone who doesn't see themselves as well?
Yeah, you simply acknowledge the truth. You simply understand the pain in which they're causing themselves by their inability to see you clearly. It's because they can't see themselves clearly. Remember, anyone who operates from a field of hate or acts out in a way that is not coming from love, it's because they cannot even see themselves. They don't even know themselves. They're only operating out of the intention that what they're doing is actually good, but they don't realize that it's actually hurting themselves because they're hurting their own brother and sister.
Yeah. And and I listen to when they say, "Oh, well, it's coming from love." I know myself, that's why I'm telling you this, or I'm telling you this because I love you. And then I
You'll
allow myself.
You know what? That question isn't even relevant because you will know what love feels like. And we also know what love doesn't feel like.
Yeah. I appreciate you for reminding.
It's a pleasure to serve you, my dear.
Thank you so much, Shaman Durek. I love you so much.
I do.
So much love with both hands. And I'm so grateful for you and your family and everything that you bring to this planet. I have to tell the Lit Tribe, everyone, you need to get on the Lit Vibe app. I've been doing this psychic dreams meditation every night before bed. That is my ritual. It is so powerful. I'm having dreams and they're actually coming into fruition. It feels like deja vu, but I know it's really all coming together. So it's just so wonderful. I'm telling you, Lit Tribe, get on the app. You are so also powerful.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And I'm so honored for you to share that. That is so kind of you to do so.
Thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
It's always important to remember that the joy and the energies that we are creating with ourselves, right? We are also going to be demonstrating that to the world as we operate in this awareness of self. We get to learn more about who we are in God's love, the more we're able to see other people in God's love, in their truth, right? Not in the distortion that our world wants to keep us stuck in energetically, which doesn't support us and doesn't, it limits us from being able to see the truth of what's happening. Yes, there's calamities in the world. Yes, there's suffering. Yes, there's pain. Yes, there's war. But these things exist because human beings still do not value life at the level that they should. When that happens, there will be none of those things happening anymore. And I do foresee that as a possibility for us, but it's going to take each and every one of us to stand up in truth and love and not shy away from it when it's time for us to do so. Yay! Okay. All right, let's take a look and see who else wants to go live. La di di da di da. La di da. Who is this? Wyatt Spencer. Who's Wyatt Spencer? Wyatt Spencer says wants to go live. Wyatt Spencer. Wyatt?
Yeah, let's turn this around. Can you hear me all right?
I can.
What's up, beautiful Shaman Derek? It's so great to be here with you right now.
It's wonderful to be here with you too. I'm super excited about that. How can I support you and hold space for your intelligence and for your power?
I actually have a question. Um, so, in your book, Spirit Hacking, you mentioned that the concept of work is the ideology of
Slave
the
con.
slave mentality, right?
Yeah.
Now, in versus work, it's play, because that's where the fun flow and ease and grace of energy of growth and evolution comes in, right? Here's here's a distinction that I have.
Okay.
This is crazy. For some reason, I can hear my voice playing back like 5 seconds after. It's distracting me. But here's the distinction. So you have work, and you have play. I strive to grow, but also in a productive manner to achieve the growth I want to achieve. And the concept of work, sometimes it motivates me to work hard, be a beast, but I've also noticed that that kind of distracts from the general purpose. And I'm missing a puzzle piece here of the difference between work and play.
Yeah. So first of all, I have to go into your energy to see how you're perceiving these energies and how they're playing out with you in your consciousness. So let me just take a look at your consciousness for a second. Okay. Right. Okay. So I took a look at your consciousness. The frequency codes in your consciousness are operating in what we call deliberate patterns. Deliberate patterns means to a shaman that you have an idea of purpose. And your consciousness of the idea of purpose goes into the idea of motivation, the idea of being a beast, the idea of like working hard, creates this idea of purpose and this idea of motivation. And the awareness of that motivation, of that energy, is to take it seriously. Those were the words that came up in your consciousness, which is, I have to be serious. I need to be taken seriously. It's very fascinating because when that word comes up in your consciousness, it means that there's a part of you that feels that it has to prove itself. And when we operate in play mentality, it's the operation of joy for the expression of creation. It means we create from joy because it is something we enjoy doing. Like me being here with you right now, right? Because I love you and because I'm happy being here. This doesn't feel like work for me at all, right? And so, yes, I can still be the beast in being there and playing and having fun, but it's not from a place of, I have to prove to the world that I am someone special. I have to prove to the world that I'm this, because that then becomes energy of what I see in your consciousness, which creates that pattern that I see. And that pattern is creating a limitation for you, because what that limitation is that until I see the reward of that which I've chosen to work for, I will not find happiness. And so the happiness only gets delivered when the reward is presented.
Oh, that was very well put. That's pretty good. What would you say would be a good focus point of the play and joy energy that I can focus on more that would help me be more in alignment with that truth and with that knowledge that you express?
That you operate from the awareness of, I don't do this because I need you to like me or validate me. I validate myself in the act of doing. Therefore, I do only for the sake because it brings me joy. See, a lot of times people on earth, they'll do things for people, people please people, do things in hopes that that person acknowledges them or says thank you or says, I appreciate, I love you, let me do something nice for you in return. But when they don't get that return, they start to cause a pain inside themselves. They start to think their value doesn't mean anything, their existence isn't valued. That's why on our planet we have that whole celebrity being a public figure. I'm a public figure. You see me sitting here with you. I don't create hype, you see. And so I think there comes this kind of like relative awareness of, if I choose to validate and honor myself first through the act of doing, then the act of doing isn't about meeting an expectation or fulfilling some expectation of someone else, but it's because I actually enjoy what I'm doing.
I'm definitely gonna have to sit on that a bit and think on that a bit more to really withdraw that wisdom from there. The other thing I wanted to ask is I've had some chest pains in my past, and that's concerning for certain reasons, but the reason why I bring it up is the last scare that I've had. One of the big lessons that I've learned from it was I also operate in this mentality of I got to figure out what's wrong with me. Because if I figure out what's wrong with me, I'm going to be, then everything's going to be peachy and shiny, and then I'll be able to evolve and grow to here. But I got to figure out what's wrong with me right now. And I've identified that the mindset of operating in that field isn't really serving me versus acknowledging where I'm at right now and loving myself right now and acknowledging my growth for where I'm already at. But there's having the knowledge and implementing the knowledge in the interface of emotional stimuli. And sometimes I feel lost. Sometimes I'm not moving through with that knowledge. And I understand knowledge takes time to seep in. But again, I'm
Well,
missing another puzzle piece
it
here.
it's different for each person. Knowledge doesn't take time to seep in. It's about your awareness of if it's true knowledge that actually supports you, meaning that you actually look. I can give people information, right? How to live a great life, but they may not take that information in until they actually really want to live a great life. Because knowledge isn't about it takes time, it's about how much of you are you willing to integrate for true change. Most people don't really believe that change is actually possible. That's why it takes longer for them to actually go into the knowledge in the right way to get that knowledge and utilize it for its faculties. But let's go into your energy for a second, because I want to understand how you're actually perceiving knowledge. So just give me a second to just download some of your information. Mm. Okay. Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course. So what I found in your thinking process, which when I was downloading your way you think, is the instantaneous, what I call it the quick fix. It's the instantaneous I want it now attitude, right? Like if I don't have it now, then I'm just going to be annoyed that I don't have it, and then it becomes grudge time because you want it instantly. You want things to shift instantly. You don't want to go down this process of step by step, step by step, step by step. That's why you get distracted. It's not that you don't have the capacity to move this information forward. It's just that you want it right now because you want to move on to other things, because your mind is constantly going like this. When I download your information, I felt like I was on a conveyor belt. And I felt like I was like, my brain was going, I was like, oh my God, wow, you are like processing a lot of information and a lot of thoughts coming through very quickly. And so when you get to a point where you don't see the experience that you want in the moment that you want it, then you get really frustrated with it and you push it aside, and then you get distracted with something else. And that's where it comes from. So what I found, the glitch, what I found in your thinking pattern is the idea that if I put my energy into it, is it really going to be worth it? And that I thought was a very fascinating thought of yours, because I was like, wow, so you are placing value on the information without actually going through the process to see if it has value. So you're already deciding its value before even taking the steps to go down that path. That's like me saying to a great wise master in ancient China to go, that wise master says, I want you to take that water up and down those stairs. And I want you to do, after you do that, I want you to clean the floors. And I want you, very Mr. Miyagi style. And I already assume that, am I really going to, something's gonna, like, this is gonna do something for me, And then I take the attitude of not choosing to go down that path because to me, I've already decided what it's gonna be without actually doing it and seeing where it's gonna take me. It's the same thing in the story of Karate Kid, where in the old Karate Kid, where Daniel's son was cleaning his car and painting the fence and sand, wax on, wax off, and then he got so frustrated because he was just like, why am I doing all of this? Like, what does this have anything to do with karate? Right. And he's like, because he was trying to teach him the act of discipline. And through that, he realized that he already had learned all the moves, but he didn't tell him why he had him doing those things. And sometimes spirit doesn't tell us why we should go down a certain path when we get these downloads and these informations. So when you're trying to already discredit it before actually going into it, my love, that's causing you to like kind of distance yourself from it and then say, okay, well, I'm going to be distracted.
That's a lot to process. This is posted on your.
See how you say those statements like that. So I also want to, you said this 2 times now. So I'm
Oh,
correct your statements, okay? Because you're with Shaman Durek. So now I'm going to get Shaman Durek mode. That's a lot to process. What do you think your prefrontal lobe is doing when you say that?
pushing it to the side,
What else is it doing?
getting distracted.
It's making you feel uncomfortable to even process it. Because you're not going into it with a mindset of how fun it will be to process it. You're saying it's a lot to process in a very tone frequency that's kind of like, that's a lot to process. Next question. Right.
Next
And
question. Yeah. Yeah.
right. And your brain is going, oh, okay. So that's too much to process. Let's not do that. Let's throw that out. Oh, that's too much to process. Let's get rid of that. Right. And so, how are you retaining that information? What if you said something different? What if you said, I'm integrating that right now, Shaman Durek?
Okay. I love that. I'm integrating your wisdom right now, Shaman Derek.
And I love how my brain is capable of assimilating it very quickly
I love how my brain is very capable of assembling it very quickly.
because I'm a very smart and intellectual man.
That's right. I'm a very smart and intellectual man. I've also noticed through my childhood and whatnot, I've had a huge fear of forgetting. And I can feel that playing a theme in um, actually at that moment right there when I'm like, this is a lot to process. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll remember all this right now. I'll look at it later, and
Yeah,
I thank you for highlighting. Go
can
ahead.
thing I learned when I was a kid. Can I share something with you?
Yes, yes.
We never forget what we care about. We just don't. When we truly care about something, we don't forget it. We only forget about the things we don't care about. And I've proven this to myself over and over and over again.
I think there's a lot of things that I've chosen to not care about.
That's what I mean. So when you actually start grounding yourself into the awareness of caring, truly caring, you're not going to forget the things that are most important to you.
Thank you, Shaman Derek.
Of course, I love you. That's why I'm here.
Other than that, no, this my heart's jumping. It's just super excited being able to converse with you. I'll allow you to pass this love on a lot of the other people here on the live to be able to help everybody grow. I'm super honored, and until next time, Shaman Derek, love you.
Love you. You see, it's a very important statement that I've made. It's because it's very true. And you don't forget what you care about. Like I didn't forget my wife and I's anniversary this year, even though she had so much going on. I, didn't forget about it. I don't forget the things that you care about, the people you care about, the things that you care about. You don't forget about it. And that's just the truth of it. So I'm really happy that I got to spend this time with each and every one of you. As you know, I only do 2 healings and sharings per live. But if you didn't get on this time, it doesn't mean that you won't next time. So please always know that I selectively choose. I appreciate you. If you want to make a private session with me, you can. If you want to come into the Lit Vibe app, you can talk to me there as well. We have a webinar. You can also join the webinar tonight, and you can come up on stage if you raise your hand, and I can support you then as well too. But the most important thing is to always remember, also in the healing temple, we have the healing temples, which is like only $10 every other week. And we do a lot of amazing healings there and supporting of people around the world. I love you all so much, and it gives me such great joy to be on this planet with each and every one of you, knowing that you exist, knowing that you are every day thriving like I am to do the best that we can and to be the kindest, most loving person that we can. And there's times where, yeah, we're going to make mistakes, and that's the reason why we have evolution, because we get to evolve into being better. And that's the great thing about life. So you can find all that information out. If you also want to get on my newsletter, you can do so at shamandurek.com. You can get take courses there as well. You can also do the 30-day strong free course in shamanism, where you can learn how to really boost your abilities and so forth. I love you, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Until next time, Amala Ashe. Mwah. Goodbye.